guys, welcome back to Keeping Up with Chyna. Today we're back with another video. If you're new, welcome, and if you're not, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about thick and full locks. Okay, just a little disclaimer, you guys know I'm not home, so this is the only way I can get these videos to you guys with this background, with this setup. So I know most of my videos are gonna look a little familiar, like not familiar but the same, but that's because this is kind of like the only way I can record when the sun is out and me facing the window. So yeah guys, so I hopefully that doesn't bother you guys too much. I'm going to be talking about full locks and thick locks. I know a lot of people, okay, I know most people, their goal is to have beautiful thick and you know, in full locks. Okay, I know that, you know, everybody wants beautiful healthy locks, you know, I know that for sure. And I remember when I was starting, I never really looked too much into it. I just know that I wanted smaller locks, and I wanted them to look full, you know, I wanted them to look like, you know, really luxurious and just, you know, ooh, you feel me? But when I was starting my locks, I didn't really know much, really. I was just going with the flow, just hoping that, you know, it just turned out good, you know. So but I do get a lot of questions, like people always asking me, how much locks do you have, and how they want their locks to look just like mine, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, that's amazing, that's great, but I feel like what most people need to really figure out before they want to start their locks, or just figure out how they want to start their locks, or how they want their locks to look and all that stuff, they have to know the type of hair that they have. Because I feel like a lot of people, they kind of have like a vision of how they want their locks, but their hair is like the opposite. Their hair texture and, you know, the type of hair that they have will not get you the type of lock that you imagine or you envision, you know. So I feel like, you know, that's where a lot of people, you know, sometimes they get disappointed with their locks, or they're like, oh my gosh, I don't like how they look, it's too thin, or it's too thick, like too thin, not full enough, or thick enough, you know. And I feel like before we consider all of these, before we make all these decisions and stuff, like, I feel like we have to really understand our type of hair, what kind of hair we have. Like, is it thick, is it fine, is it, you know, like, you know, is it low density or high density? Like, you have to know what type of hair that you have, you know. That's first and foremost, like 100%. like, you have to know the type of hair that you have. And then once you know the type of hair that you have, then you can go ahead and try to figure out, you know, how do you want, I mean, of course you can always have an idea of how you want your locks to look like. For example, if you want thick full locks and you have very fine and low density hair, chances are you might not be, like, you're not going to be too satisfied with your locks. Like, if you want thick full locks, because you have low density hair and it's very thin, you kind of might have to pick one. You might have to pick whether you want thick locks or do you want full locks. And that leads me to the next thing that I want to touch base on. So we know that, you know, there is a difference between thick locks and full locks. Okay, so, and some people are lucky enough that they have both thick and you know, full locks, and that's wonderful. Those people are blessed, and, you know, kudos to them. But some people, they don't have thick and full locks. They either have thick locks or they just have full locks. For thicker locks, I would say, you know, with thicker locks, I would say the parting is a bit bigger for sure. Like, for me, I have different partings and stuff. So some of my locks are thicker. Like, for example, this one, some of them are thicker than other. Like, for example, this one in the back, let me see, like, well, this one in the front right here, this is more thinner, you know. Like, I have different sizes of locks in my hair. Like, some of them are like really thick, and some of them are like very, you know, skinnier and stuff like that. So I feel like if you want, if your goal is for you to have like very thick locks, then I would say definitely figure out how many locks you want in the parting, and you know, and know that, like, for example, and be realistic too with your parting. Don't, you know, don't go in thinking that you want very thick locks but you have like 200 locks, or like, you know, or you have like, you know, 100 locks and your hair is like low density, okay, or like really fine. Okay, don't go in, like, be very clear and be very realistic with that too, so that you know, you know what you're getting yourself into. Okay, so and then with full locks, I would say if you want like a fuller locks and stuff like that, I would say for you know, for you to have, you know, more locks. If you want fuller locks, of course you want to have more locks. For example, me, I have 112 locks. Of course, if you, the smaller it is, I would say, and also depending on your hair type, you know, the smaller it is, the more fuller your hair can appear. You feel me? Like in the way that you started. Like if you want like thicker locks, I would say like start your hair with like 2-strand twists, or comb coils, I would say also. And what else? I would say like for semi freeform too, because with those technique, and also instant locks, with those starter locks and stuff, you know, it allows the hair to like poof up and, you know, get the form of the nice full locks. With like braids and stuff, you know, braids is very tight. It's tight, it just looks very thin, you know. So if you want like thicker locks, I wouldn't start your hair, your locks with you know, with braids, because you would have like that very thin look, not as full. It can be a little full but not thick, you feel me? So that's another thing, you guys. And then if you want like full locks, like I mentioned before, you would want to start with like smaller locks, like micro locks or like sister locks, or just smaller locks in general. But like I said, you guys, I'm not saying that, you know, this is for everybody. Like for example, some people can have both. Some people can have thick and full locks. I know, what's her name, Sandy Lay, I use her as an example all the time, because her locks are beautiful. They are very thick, they are very full, like they have volume, and they're thick. Like the partings are not that small. It's like a medium-ish, I would say. But like, you know, she has very thick and full hair at the same time. And why is that? Is because of her hair texture, and also her density of her hair. All of those, you know, play a part of how your hair will turn out, if it will turn out thick, or if it will turn out full, or both of them, you know. For me, I would say I'm in the middle between thick and full, or I think I have both. Like some days I would say like my hair is both, but some days I'll be like, they're kind of thick in some areas, but then they're a little thin in some areas. So I would say I kind of have both, kinda. But yeah, like it really, like your hair texture really play a part of how your hair is going to turn out in the parting that you choose, and how many locks you choose. Those are all things that you should consider before you decide to, like, you know, start your locks, and, you know, or just, you know, be like, oh my god, I want my hair to look like this, and it better look like this. If it does, I'm gonna be so upset. So you have to get to know your hair before you start this process, or else you will be very disappointed if you want that and then your hair looks like that, and then it's not what it, you know, turns out to be, and you get very disappointed. And that's another reason why you can have, like, you know, inspirations, you know, people that you love with their locks, you're inspired by them with their locks. But, you know, you also have to, you know, keep it real, and also, you know that everybody's hair type is not the same. Everybody's hair texture is not the same. Some people have really fine hair, some people have very, you know, thick hair, coarse hair. So I feel like that's where sometimes, you know, people kind of get it mixed up, that, you know, they want this reality, but then, you know, their real reality is that it's like the completely opposite, and then they get very disappointed. You know, you got to be clear with that too. I say, you know, you can start locks with any type of hair, I would say. It's just, you know, you just have to know, you know, be prepared for the reality of how your hair would look like. You know, if you want fuller locks, I would say, you know, have smaller locks, because once it goes through the process, it's gonna poof up. It's gonna, the frizziness and everything, the changes that it's gonna go through, your hair will appear more thicker, well, not thicker but fuller. But of course, if you like them big, chunky, thick looking locks and stuff like that, you just love how they look, you just really want thick hair, I mean thick locks, then I would say start, like, make sure that your parting is a little bit bigger, so that, you know, it can the thickness of the locks can be bigger. And if you want both, you can, I would say it just all depends on your hair texture. Some people can have both, you know, but again, you know, if you have like fine low density hair, you kind of would have to pick one, whether you want to have thicker locks or if you want full locks. Then, you know, you will pick the size and everything, and, you know, and see how it turns out. Okay, but anyways guys, I hope this was a little informative on, you know, thicker locks or full locks, or, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure you leave all your comments down below. I will see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.